Will your favorite NBA team win more or less games than they did last year? We're going to do this by division, starting with the Central Division. Milwaukee Bucks, who won 48 games last year. I'm going to say less. It may be spot on, to be honest, but it's probably a little bit less. This team just doesn't have that much talent around Giannis. East is bad, but I'm not sure it's bad enough for this group to be meaningfully better with Miles Turner instead of Dame Lillard. That takes us to the Pacers, who won 50 games last year. Less. They have no Tyrese Halliburton. It's as simple as that. They'll be competitive because they have a scrappy group, but they're not scrapping their way past 50. For the Cavaliers, 64. I'm going less. They should fall out of bed to mid-50 wins in the East, but last year might have been a little bit of fool's gold. But more than that, I think this is the year they're solely focused on proving they can get it done in the playoffs, which likely means less emphasis on the regular season win total and more emphasis on load management and playoff preparation. The Chicago Bulls, 39 wins last year, and I'm going less. Maybe not much less because they're perpetually 500 in Chicago, but they've shown some small signs leaning towards possibly going a little bit more with a youth movement. Probably more like 36 wins. For the Detroit Pistons, who won 44 games last year, and that was a big jump, and they should only be getting better, so I'm going to go with more. Cade Cunningham is flirting with some people's top 5 MVP prediction ballots. They're getting Jaden Ivey back, and they're probably the best positioned team to make a splash trade if they want to try to accelerate that growth even more. And before we go on, just jumping in to ask you to subscribe to the channel. I want to try to hit 1,000 subscribers by the Christmas Day games. So if you could help me out, I'd greatly appreciate it. Now the Atlantic Division, starting with the Boston Celtics, who won 61 games last year. And say it with me, kids, we're going with less. Jason Tatum might be on the world's fastest Achilles recovery timeline, but even the most optimistic outlook for this season, after they spent the entire offseason trying to get out of the second apron hell, well, that does not include a 60-plus win trajectory. The Philadelphia 76ers, they won 24 games last year, so this has to be more. They cannot be as bad as they were last year, right? I do not believe in Joel Embiid, or Paul George for that matter, but Tyrese Maxey and a few decent role players in a depleted Eastern Conference has to get you like 25 wins at least, right? The New York Knicks, they won 51 games last year, so I'm going to go with more. I cannot explain why, but I have this feeling that the Knicks are going to try to be out to prove they're not just the best team in the East, but a true title contender this year. So I think they're going to be pushing for 60-plus wins, top seed in the East, that kind of season. And that means winning more than 51 games. The Brooklyn Nets, they won 26 games last year, and they're going to win less than that this year. This team is garbage. They're going to continue to be garbage. With Cam Thomas trying to get a contract and MPJ having a dribble, plus the revolving door of rookies, it's just going to be garbage. The Toronto Raptors, 30 wins. I'm going more. Are the Raptors going to be a good team? Maybe not, but they've got some talent, and you won't have to be a super good team to win more than 30 games in the East. Which takes us to the Southeast Division, which was, boy, was this a sad division last year. We'll start with the Orlando Magic, who won 41 games, and this has to be more. Desmond Bane could be the addition that catapults their offense to not one of the worst in the league. And if that happens while they continue to play stifling defense and their young stars keep getting better, there's a reason that many people are picking them to be the third best team in the East this year. So how about the Miami Heat, who won 37 games last year, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually going to go with more. They may have brainwashed Davion Mitchell to believe that they're title contenders, but they've not brainwashed me. However, someone has to win games in this Eastern Conference, and if Eric Spoelstra is as good of a coach as everyone says he is, they should be able to at least flirt with being 500. The Atlanta Hawks, 40 wins last year. And this, I'm going with more. They had a strong offseason. Adding Porzingis raises their ceiling, and adding Alexander Walker raises their floor. And if Jalen Johnson looks anything like he did before he got hurt, they should be battling for home court in the first round. That takes us to Charlotte with the Hornets, who won 19 games last year. And somehow I think they're going to win more. I am not a LaMelo Ball believer, and I do not know what the vision is for this team, or when the last time they had a vision. Probably before the Bobcats, when the vision was to leave Charlotte. All that said, I think they can scrape together 20 wins in the East. So that takes us to the Wizards, who won 18 games last year, and I'm going with less this year. They are going to be real bad, and real bad on purpose. So with that in mind, they're going to be successful. Successfully, real bad. So that takes us to the Northwest Division, starting with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who won 49 games last year. And for this one, I think I'm going to go with more. Anthony Edwards has been looked at like one of the best players in the NBA, even if he hasn't quite reached earning that just yet, but he could. And if he does, this team will win in the mid-50s. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who won 68 games last year. So I'm going with less. And this is literally just playing the odds. 68 is ridiculously high. And to say that they're going to win more is to say that they're going to flirt with 70, a feat that's only been done twice. So I'm going to say that they won't. But they'll still be the team to beat in the West. The Denver Nuggets, 50 wins last year, and I'm going to go with more this year. I love the Nuggets offseason. After multiple years of actively getting worse, they turned a crippling MPJ contract into Cam Johnson, who might actually be a better fit in his own right, but it also came with the flexibility to add more quality role players like Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Jonas Valanciunas. In theory, that depth should allow them to be competitive in the non-Jokic minutes, and I think put them back in the title contention picture. Who's not in the title contention picture are the Utah Jazz, who won 17 games last year. And somehow, I'm going to say that they're going to find a way to win less this year. It took way too long for the teardown to happen in Utah, but it's finally here, and once they offload Lauri Markkanen, they should be firmly solidified as the Wizards' main competition for the most lottery ping pong balls. So for the Portland Trail Blazers, who won 36 games last year, I'm going more, I guess. I don't really buy the way that they ended last season. I think they took advantage of the time of year when tanking teams go extra tank and some playoff teams are in full load management mode. That said, I don't think that Anthony Simons is a guy who drives winning culture and elevates young guys like Scoot or Shaedon Sharpe. But Drew Holiday is. And a Dame Lillard who's happy to be in the building and ready to prove his chops as a mentor should help elevate them to shoot for close to 500. So now the Pacific Division, starting with the Los Angeles Clippers, who won 50 games last year, and I'm going less this year. I know they've got some good players on their team, and Bradley Beal doesn't look like a disaster when he's not making $50 million a year with a no-trade clause. But this is going to be the soap opera of the NBA this year, with constant questions about Kawhi's cap circumvention investigation on top of the already prominent "will Kawhi even play?" questions. And I think they could end up just short of 50, like maybe 48. The Sacramento Kings, they won 40 games last year, and I'm going to say they're going to win less this year. The Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan plus floor spacing-ish white big was good for perpetually 40 wins in the East. It won't be in the West. This team should be studied as the quintessential prototype for roster construction malpractice. The Phoenix Suns, 36 wins, and I'm actually going less. Devin Booker and the Bookettes might have some moments looking like somewhat of a more cohesive unit with KD and Beal out of the building, but it's not going to translate to more wins. And the West is tough. The Los Angeles Lakers, who won 50 games last year, and I'm going to say they're going to win more this year. A full offseason to prepare for how to make best use of Luka and LeBron together, plus a motivated Luka showing up in the best shape of his life, should be a good team. And I'd peg them around 52 wins, which is more than 50. So what about the Golden State Warriors, who won 48 games last year? I'm going to say that they're going to win less than that this year. These guys are very, very, very old. And I think 48 is probably about right. So if I had to pick more or less, which I do because of the rules that I completely made up for this video, I'd lean toward a couple less, like maybe 46. Finally, the Southwest Division. The New Orleans Pelicans won 21 games last year, and I'm going with less this year. Someone has to lose to all these Western Conference teams, and it's going to be the Pelicans after whatever the next stretch of Zion missing times is going to be, and then the Jordan Poole time begins. The Dallas Mavericks, 39 wins last year, and I'm saying less. Kyrie's not going to play. AD is out of shape and is already a major health risk. Clay's on the decline, and I don't think a rookie Cooper Flagg is leading this team to a 40-win season flanked by D'Lo and Derek Lively pick and rolls. The Houston Rockets, 52 wins, and this one's tough for me. I'm going to say they're going to win more because it's the first year of having KD in the locker room, so we shouldn't be on the this is about to be a disaster timeline just yet, and he could legitimately be the missing piece for a young up-and-coming team that really needed that go-to shooter, go-to scorer, and he's as good of a go-to shooter, go-to scorer as we've kind of ever seen. The Memphis Grizzlies, 48 wins last year, and I'm going less. This team's in no man's land. Your young star hasn't been available due to health or suspensions. You traded away Desmond Bane for picks in a way worse version of Desmond Bane and KCP. Triple J is good, but the rest of the roster is kind of meh, and meh doesn't win you 48 games in a loaded West. Finally, the San Antonio Spurs, who won 34 games last year, and I'm going to say they're going to win more games this year. If Wemby is who people think he is, then the next logical step is for the Spurs to start winning some games. I'm not someone that's predicting them to take a giant leap, but I think they could flirt with 500. That's it. Let me know how I did down in the comments section. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. And if you're a fan of shorts about the NBA, go ahead and click here and watch a whole bunch of them.